We are going to watch a quick little video from Jurassic Park. It talks about how they extract the dinosaur DNA and also gives us a couple cool new facts about DNA that maybe you didn't know. So, here we go. Maybe.
Where do you get 100-million-year-old dinosaur blood?
What? Oh, it's the DNA. Where did you come from?
From your blood. Just one drop of your blood contains billions of strands of DNA, the building blocks of life. A DNA strand, like me, is a blueprint for building a living thing. And sometimes animals that went extinct millions of years ago, like dinosaurs, left their blueprints behind for us to find. We just had to know where to look. 100 million years ago, there were mosquitoes, just like today. And just like today, they fed on the blood of animals, even dinosaurs. Sometimes, after biting a dinosaur, the mosquito would land on the branch of a tree and get stuck in the sap. After a long time, the tree sap would get hard and become fossilized, just like a dinosaur bone, preserving the mosquito inside. This fossilized tree
Really quickly, I do know that some of my friends, especially those of you who live far out east, like way down in Adams Creek and Harlow, sometimes your internet service is not quite as strong as others. So just for the purpose of these videos, and so that we can increase the bandwidth that's available, if you guys could turn your cameras off while we watch the videos, it will hopefully make the videos less glitchy. So go ahead and turn your cameras off for right now. And we're going to continue on. There we go. Perfect. You the best.
tree sap, which we call amber, waited for millions of years with the mosquito inside until Jurassic Park scientists came along. Using sophisticated techniques, they extract the preserved blood from the mosquito and, bingo, dino DNA. A full DNA strand contains 3 billion genetic codes. If we looked at screens like these once a second for 8 hours a day, it'd take 2 years to look at the entire DNA strand. It's that long. So, it's full of holes. Now that's where our geneticists take over. Thinking machine supercomputers and gene sequencers break down the strand in minutes. And virtual reality displays show our geneticists the gaps in the DNA sequence. We use the complete DNA of a frog to fill in the holes and complete the code. And now we can make a baby dinosaur.
All right, so keep your cameras off because we do have another video right after this one. But in the video, it says that the DNA is the blueprint for a living thing's body or genetic makeup. In this case, it was a dinosaur. So think back to our heat transfer project that we did, and remember that you all had to submit a blueprint, which were the basic instructions for how you were going to build your animal shelter. So it had the dimensions, the height, and the width. Maybe we could say that like our DNA has the design for our height and maybe our weight, instead of our width, our weight. It also talked about your animal shelter. It talked about what type of material it was going to be made out of. Any other materials you were going to need to build it. So it was very specific instructions for building your animal shelter so that anyone could build it. Your DNA is the exact same thing for your body. It is the specific code to create different physical or even sometimes non-physical traits that you possess. So today our focus is going to continue on in genetics, and we're going to be talking about traits, and we're going to be talking about our acquired traits and our inherited traits. So again, keep your videos off so that hopefully it helps with the glitchiness of the video. And we're going to go ahead and get started.
Everything about you is completely unique. You are one of a kind. And I don't just mean that in like a Mr. Rogers sort of way. You are completely unique. And if you don't believe me, just look around. Is there anyone who's exactly like you? No. And there are a lot of people in the world. So why is that? Now, all of your physical characteristics are called traits, and there are two types of traits. They are either acquired traits or inherited traits. Now, inherited traits are the ones that you get from your biological parents. So let's look at those first. All right, so you look the way you do because you receive traits from both of your biological parents. When two people reproduce, they both give 50% of their genes to their child. So why do you look the way you do? Well, we can use this deck of cards to help see. When two people make a child, they take 50% of their genes, 50% of their genes, and they get shuffled together. So they get put in an order to make you look the way you do. But if those two people were to make another child, their genes would be shuffled again. Now it's still the same genes, so there's going to be some similarities, but it's not going to be shuffled in the same exact way. That's why siblings look alike, but not exactly the same. This would look nicer if I could actually shuffle cards well. Okay, so inherited traits are things that you get from your biological parents. But what about acquired traits? Acquired traits are things that you get from your environment, like a scar from falling down riding your bicycle, or maybe it's something that you practice at a lot and get really good at. For example, my father is really good at a board game called backgammon, but I'm not very good at that game because being good at a board game isn't a trait that can be passed down from parent to child. For me to be good at that game, I would have to practice a lot. I would have to acquire that trait. That's why we call them acquired traits. Okay, so acquired traits can't be passed down to your kids. Things like juggling a soccer ball, you can't pass that down to your kids. That is an acquired trait. So juggling the ball is an acquired trait, but your hair color is an inherited trait. Spinning a ball is an acquired trait, whereas your eye color is an inherited trait. So something like juggling the soccer ball isn't inside of your body already. So what do I mean when I say inside your body? All right, so think about the traits that can be passed down to children. Hair texture, eye color, skin color, all of these things are inherited traits. All of these things are inherited traits and they're in your body. They're in your DNA, and your DNA is made up of genes. So what exactly are genes? Well, you can think of genes kind of like the recipes in a cookbook. It tells your body exactly what it's going to look like. The only difference is a cookbook might have a few recipes in it, but your body is full of trillions of cells, and each cell has about 20,000 genes. That's a lot of recipes. All of those recipes decide what you look like. Okay, so let's recap. Your traits are either acquired or inherited. Inherited traits are things that can be passed down from biological parent to their children, while acquired traits are things that you get from your environment, things that cannot be passed on from parent to child. You have to acquire those traits yourself. Well, that's it for this episode, everyone. But next time you're feeling down about yourself, just remember you are special and unique. And that's not just me saying it. It's just science. Bye. Everything about you is completely unique.
All right, guys, welcome back. So, like the video said, we have some traits that are either acquired. Oh my gosh.
Everything
why
about
is it
you
going? Okay, we have some traits that are either acquired or inherited. The things that we have from the moment that we're born, the things that we got from our mother and father that we're born with, those things are inherited. We can't change those. But some of our traits are acquired. For example, most of us have acquired the language trait of speaking English. Now, some of us, Sergio, is are bilingual, and so he acquired the trait of speaking Spanish at a young age because that's what's spoken in his home. But then once he started attending school, he acquired another language trait, which is English, which is super cool. And maybe once you guys get into middle and high school, you may acquire another language trait, such as speaking Spanish or French or German or Chinese or Japanese. So again, we aren't born speaking a certain language. We learn those things. So those things are acquired. So we are going to take some notes today on learned and acquired traits before you complete your assignment. So if you could please go to Google Slides or Google Drive and look for your genetics student notebook. And remember, it's like a purple. It's got a purple background. It says genetics notebook. If for some reason you still do not have a copy of this in your slides or your drive, I'm going to put it one more time in the chat. Hopefully you have it. If you do not have it, you will need to go back in your notebook and make some updates to your notebook and update those first two slides that we did. You'll need to watch the lesson from Friday to be able to have your notes for that, because you will be turning in this notebook for a grade next week. All right. I have this in there from the last class. Oh no. Sorry guys. Do 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 do. All right. There's one other one that I didn't edit probably. Yep. Come on, yeah. Oh well, I guess I could have just left them there. Now that you've seen them. Whoops. Okay. So this is what your notebook should look like. I want you to scroll down to slide 7, where you have the picture of the bald guy. And if you would like to turn your cameras back on during this time, you can. Or you can keep them off, because I know you're going to be working back and forth in your slides, so your camera may go off occasionally, and that's okay. All right, so I'm just going to leave that there. In your notebooks, it says a trait is ... I want you to double click or double tap by that ... and I want for you to type in a trait is a characteristic. And I'm going to put it in the chat just in case you want to copy and paste from the chat to expedite the process, which means speed it up. Okay, and do I have any volunteers for who would like to explain what a physical trait is? A physical trait. Ella, what is a physical trait?
A physical trait is something you can see, like you can see your hair, you can see the color of your eyes, You can see if you have a mustache. You can see what color your eyebrows are and that kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely correct. A physical trait is something that can be seen. So when you guys are doing your reading assignments and you start talking about character traits, usually your reading teacher, I know I didn't like to see it when I taught reading. I'm sure Miss Zelinsky doesn't, but when she asks you to describe a character, she probably doesn't really care if you know if the character has red hair or blonde hair or black hair. She probably doesn't care if the character is short or tall unless it adds meaning to the story. Usually when we analyze a character, we look much deeper, like maybe what might motivate their actions, or if they're brave or hardworking, or maybe courageous. So those types of things are non-physical traits. Non-physical traits are things that we cannot see. So a non-physical trait is a trait that cannot be seen. And I'm also going to put that in the chat for you so that you have it. You can copy and paste it if that's quicker for you. And now I want you to think, on your slides, you have some choices that are listed over there to the right. No hair, like sports, fair skin, funny, brown eyes, etc. I want for you to sort those into the two categories, physical traits and non-physical traits. So to know if it's physical or non-physical, you're going to ask yourself, can I see it? Can I look at somebody and see it? I'm going to lower everyone's hands. And if you have a question, you can raise your hand. But I think these are all the people who wanted to tell me what a physical trait was. Yes, Cammie.
Did we last Friday? Did we do the dominant versus recessive traits?
No, that is for tomorrow.
Okay, because I thought you would have had them in order. So I was like, we didn't do these. Why is she making us skip them?
Yeah, no. We will do those tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, Elliot?
Do you want somebody to go up and say one of the physical traits?
Yes, I'm going to ask for volunteers in just a minute, but I want to give everybody a moment just to work and to sort these on their own first, okay? So I'll ask for volunteers here in just a moment. Yes, Jamon, you have a question?
Yes, I have a question. So, remember what you told us to write in our slides?
Yes.
I don't have it for some strange reason.
You don't have the slides?
I mean, I do have slides, but I don't have the thing that you told us to do in slides. I don't have it.
You don't have this slide?
No, not this slide. There's a link for the wait, go back real quick. Go back, so I can show you what I was talking about real quick. There was one slide that you told everybody to do.
The one in chat?
No, not the one in the not the one in the chat. It said that you told us.
Do you have this that we're working on right now?
No. I mean,
do you have this that we're working on right now, Jamon?
the slide?
Yes.
I don't have it, no ma'am.
Okay, so click the link that's in the chat and it'll have you make a copy.
Okay. Okay, I'm in now.
Okay. And it should have copied it right where we are. It should have everything that I've already typed in. Oh, never mind. No, what? No, don't. I think maybe it does. I don't know. right, so volunteers, who can help me sort these physical and non-physical traits? I want you to give me one and tell me whether it's physical or non-physical, and I'm gonna follow your instructions. All right, Landon, I see you first.
One that I know is a physical trait is no hair.
Excellent. No hair is a physical trait. We can clearly see that this man is hairless on top of his head. All right, Cammy.
Another physical trait would be fair skin.
Yes, fair skin. We can see if someone has fair skin or not. Excellent job. Demario.
Wait. Like sports is
Like sports is what? Non-physical trait. Excellent job. We cannot tell by looking at someone if they like sports or not. Excellent. Jamon. Maybe your hand is up from earlier? Ella.
Oh, I'm sorry.
A non-physical trait is hard worker.
Okay, a non-physical trait would be hard worker, exactly. I couldn't just look at you and tell if you were a hard worker. I'd have to see you working to know if you're a hard worker or not. All right, Jamon, I'll come back to you. What is your example?
My example is you put down that they are that they play piano,
All right, playing piano, is that a physical or a non-physical trait?
non-physical.
Non-physical, that's exactly right. I could not look at Jamon and tell if he could play the piano or not. He would have to show me.
I'm asking.
Let's see, Ocean.
So, one second, I'm trying to look for the hardest one. Easily distracted would be non-physical. Sure, like, let's say if he was a kid and he was in class, you would be able to see him daydreaming, but in that picture, you can't see if he would be easily distracted or not. Like, if you saw him just like walking, you wouldn't be able to know if he was easily distracted or not.
Yes, exactly. Awesome job. Elliot.
A non. I know it sounds like a physical trait, but literally, I feel like it's a physical trait, but why would a physical trait and a non be a that you? I know you can see that he's a man, but it's also not a like. You can see that he's a man, but I'm confused.
So you're confused about whether a man goes under physical or non-physical traits?
Yep.
Well, just because there are some physical characteristics that men have that women don't have, like being able to grow a mustache, and usually men have broader shoulders and they're taller and usually they're more muscular, just because of the way that their bodies are built and they can easily build muscle much easier than women. So there are a lot of physical characteristics that make a man appear to be a man rather than not. Does that make sense? So being a man would be a physical trait. Because we could clearly tell that this is a man in this picture. All right. We've got 3 more, and I've got Landon, Demario, and Jamon with your hand raised. So, Landon, help me sort one of these last 3.
Tall could be a physical trait.
Excellent. Tall is physical. Oh man, and Zariah commented in the chat at the exact same time you said that. was like she was a psychic. She knew you were gonna say that. Excellent job, Zaraya. Demario.
Funny is non-physical.
Funny is non-physical. I could not look at you and tell if you were funny or not. And last but not least, brown eyes. Jamon, is that physical or non-physical?
Everybody know that's physical.
Yes, that is definitely physical. I can definitely look at you and tell if you have brown eyes, the color of your eyes. Yes, Elliot, I see your hand is raised.
You know that question I asked last time? It said, is there a way of eye colors mixing and making like light brown or something?
Yes.
That's what I've seen. Do you have an answer for that?
I have not had an opportunity to research that yet. No. I'm sorry.
Man.
But just like the video said before, pretty much your parents, when they make you, is like shuffling a deck of cards. So yes, your dad's traits, just because he has dark brown eyes and your mom has different color eyes, doesn't mean that you have to get one of those colors or the other. They can mix. Just like that, the cards being shuffled, all the cards are going to stay the same, but they're going to arrange themselves in different orders. So it would definitely be a possibility for you to kind of be a blend. Yes, Ocean.
So, is it possible for a human to get like a blue eye and a brown eye? Because I know that's possible for dogs, but is it possible for human?
Yes, I have seen humans with two different color eyes before. It's not very often that it happens, but I have seen it. I've known 3 people like that in my lifetime.
Lucky!
Yeah, it's pretty rare, but I'm sure you'll meet some people with weird genetics as you grow older. And then Cammy, and then we've got to move on so that you guys can get the rest of your notes, and I can tell you guys about the assignment. Yes, Cammy?
I actually wanted to tell Ocean that I knew somebody with that same thing. She's actually my best friend. I still talk to her. When I lived in Tennessee, that was my best friend. Her name was Madison, and she had one full blue eye, and then she had one half green, half blue, and it was split horizontally down the middle on one eye.
Oh, wow, that's so neat. So that kind of answers Elliot's questions too of yes, it can be a mixture. Yours is just more of a blend rather than like a half and half. So that's pretty cool. All right, guys. So the last thing we're going to talk about today are inherited and acquired, because on your assignment today, you're going to have to analyze different traits in 2 different ways. You're going to have to tell whether it's physical or non-physical, and then you're going to have to tell whether that trait has been inherited or acquired, whether it was learned or whether you were born with it. So, I just told you the definition of inherited traits. Inherited traits are traits that are passed down from parents in their DNA. You are born with them. So I'm going to copy this and paste it in the chat so that you guys can copy and paste to make it much quicker, or you can copy it and type it all out yourself. Totally up to you. So if inherited traits are traits that are passed down from parents in their DNA, they're traits that you're born with. What are acquired traits? Who can remember from the video? What is an acquired trait? Kaylee, I haven't heard from you today.
An acquired trait is a trait that you learned throughout your life.
Yes, traits that are learned as you grow. Excellent job. So acquired traits are traits that we learn. So, I'll go ahead and get us started. Maybe some inherited traits might be your hair color or your height, whether you're going to be tall or short. Somebody else give me an example of an inherited trait. Let me find somebody whom I haven't heard from today. Khalees, what is an example of an inherited trait? Not while I'm on Zoom, please.
Brown eyes.
Oh, yes, your eye color. Excellent job. Britton, what is another example of an inherited trait? Something you're born with.
What? How you look? Your foot?
Okay, so how you look? Yeah, maybe your facial features. How many of you have heard your parents say, oh, you have your dad's eyes, or your mom's nose, or you look just like your mom or dad? So sometimes how we look, our facial features, we definitely inherit those from our parents. Excellent job. If you still have some room, you can add some extras, but now we're going to talk about acquired traits. These are traits that we learn as we grow. Yes, your lips are also a feature that you may inherit from your parents. Excellent job. Very, very good. So maybe something that we learn. I mentioned this one earlier, but an acquired trait would be our language, whether we speak English or Spanish or French or Japanese or Chinese or German. We learn that throughout our life as we grow. So think about yourself as a baby. Anything that you can do now that you couldn't do when you were a baby. We learned to walk. I saw that in the chat. Maybe learning to play football. Let's see, some acquired traits. What are some traits that we can learn? Harlem, what's a trait we can learn?
Can you please repeat the question? My brother was being loud.
Okay, so acquired traits are traits that we learn as we grow. So what is a trait? What is an example of an acquired trait? A trait that you can learn?
How to solve division or learning about weather.
Okay, so how to math or let's see, learn traits. I wonder if academics could be. We'll say that because that'll cover math and science. So academics, we can learn more about whatever it is that we're studying. Excellent. Ella?
How to read or skateboard.
Yes, how to read or skateboard. Excellent. Landon?
Drawing.
What?
Learning to draw.
Yes, learning to draw. Absolutely. And some people are really good artists and they're really good at drawing. Excellent. Cami, another example of an acquired trait.
Another example of an acquired trait would be, okay, I thought I had to sneeze. Okay, so an example of an acquired trait that I put on here would be learning how to take a shower or brushing your teeth.
Okay, so how to care for yourself. Excellent. I'm going to put hygiene.
Yeah.
And then lastly, oh, Zaraya just got her hand in there. All right, so Khalees, another acquired trait. Zaraya, another acquired trait.
How to eat.
Yes, how to eat. Excellent. Yes, when we are babies, we don't know how to eat, but we very quickly learn. Very good. All right, that was a great example. So we're almost done. In the chat, I'm gonna drop the assignment link from Echo. All right, so in the chat, if you click on the link that I'm gonna put in there, it's gonna take you to a table that looks like this, the traits table. Click the link and then click make a copy. And it's going to take you to a document that looks like this. Now, in order to get full credit for the assignment today, you have to list 7 traits and analyze them, whether they're physical or non-physical, and whether the trait is an inherited or an acquired trait. In Echo, your instructions tell you when you click on the assignment that you will list the traits on this Google Sheet. We've already made a copy, so don't click on that again. Just go to your slides or your drive and pull it up. If for some reason you can't find it, you can always just hold your finger down on this table here and just mark up the picture that's on the screen. When you finish, I want you to take a screenshot of it or upload the Google Drive file and submit it. If you share the Google Drive file, please make sure that you also share it with me so that I can see it. And I won't get the error message like I don't have access to view it. Okay? If you don't have any questions about your assignment, you are free to go. But if you do have a question, this is your time to ask. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Me and the kitten says bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Ocean and the kitten.
Bye.
Bye.